So in this video, we're going to be taking our WhatsApp clone application and deploying it. We're going to put it on the cloud. We're going to share it with the whole world and let them see the greatness of our Ionic skills. So we're already using Firebase, so a very logical option is to use Firebase hosting. So we're going to be using Firebase hosting to get our application to the cloud. Now, the first thing we want to do is Ionic as a build command whereby you can run the build command and have the built production version of this application, and that's what we're going to be deploying to Firebase hosting. So the first thing we want to do is, if we go to our application, if we open up the files and go to package.json, scroll down, package.json, you're going to see the build command. So we have the build command here, and it creates a production version of our application and puts it in a build folder. So that's what we're going to do. That's the first thing we're going to do. So let's going to go to the command line, and this is where I'm running the application. So I'm going to use command T to open up a new tab. So we're going to run npm run build so that we can get the production version of our application inside the build folder. This might take a while, so I'm going to pause the video and return when this is done. So now that our build is done, as you can see, the process is done, and if we go to VS Code, you can see a build folder here. So we have a build folder here. This is auto-generated, so you don't need to make sense of any of the files that are in it. So let's go back to command line and continue our deploy process. So I'm just going to type clear to clear the command line. Now, one tool you will need to install to make this happen is the Firebase tools. You need the Firebase tools to install this. I already have it installed. If you want to check if you have it installed, you can just run Firebase --version, and that will just spit out your Firebase version. That's taken quite a while. Well, I guess while I keep talking, this is going to show up. So it spits out your Firebase version. If you don't have it already installed, you can run this command. You can run npm. As you can see, I have version 8.16.1. You can run npm install -g. It has to be a global install. So if you are not running root access, you might need to prefix this with sudo. So npm install -g firebase --tools. No, -tools, not --, not double dash, a single dash. So firebase -tools. Run this command, it will get the Firebase tools installed on your system. So let's just clear that. Now, in order to push our application to Firebase, we need to have authenticated access from our shell. To do that, you run Firebase login. Let's run Firebase login. This command is going to open up our browser. So ensure you're logged in your browser. Okay, I'm being prompted with a question here. It says allow Firebase to collect CLI usage report. No, not now. So I'm just going to allow it to authenticate. Since I'm already logged in here, I'll just allow it to authenticate, pick my account, and allow Firebase, and yeah, successfully logged in. So I can close this window now and return to my shell, and yeah, I am currently logged in. Right, I'm logged in right now. So I'm going to clear this. With that cleared, I can begin to use Firebase. Make sure you're in the root of your application though. This is very important. Make sure you're in the root of your application. So to begin the deploy process, the first thing is to run Firebase init. That's the init command, initialize. So we run Firebase init, and this is going to come up with a bunch of questions. The first, we're being asked which Firebase service we want. Is it the database, the Firestore, functions, hosting, storage, emulators, or remote config? Now, this is trying to set up Firebase in your application. We've already set up our Firestore manually, so you don't need to select Firestore here to make anything special happen. Just go to hosting. You use your arrow keys to move up and down, and when you get to the option that you want, which is hosting in this case, just hit the space bar and that will be selected. And once that is selected, you hit enter. Then we are being asked again, do we want to use an existing project, create a project, add Firebase to an existing Google Cloud Platform project, or don't set up a default project? For this, we're using an existing project, which is our WhatsApp clone project. So we're just going to hit enter on that option, and it brings up our projects. So we have all these projects here. Currently, we don't this is not showing our WhatsApp clone. I'm saying the doc site. These are some of my projects, but the WhatsApp clone is not here. So we might need to. Okay, this says move up and down to review more choices. Oh, I'm just going to go down now. This is the only part. This is the only video that I've not done ahead. I've done this process a couple of times, but not for this particular application. So the WhatsApp clone project seems to be here. Seems to be down here. So just going to go to that and hit enter to select it. Cool. So what do we want to use as our public directory? It's suggesting public as a default, but we know that our application files are in the build folder. So you're just going to type build and hit enter. And the next question is configure as a single page application. Yeah, Ionic is a single page application and we want to redirect all URLs. We want to rewrite all URLs to index.html. So this is going to be a yes. So just hit Y and hit enter. Set up automatic builds and deploys with GitHub. Not now. So N for no. So file HTML already exists. Overwrite. We don't want to overwrite that because Ionic generated that for us. So we don't want to overwrite it. Just say no. And yeah, so everything is complete. Firebase has initialized our app for hosting. Then if we go to VS Code, inside the WhatsApp clone folder, you can see a bunch of files that has been created. We have the firebase.rc file, which just targets our project, our WhatsApp clone project. We also have a firebase.json file down here. Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong file. Firebase.json. So this also contains some Firebase configuration based on the options that we selected. As you can see, our public folder is build. Now, for the purpose of deployment, you don't really need to make sense of any of this or change anything. So just leave it as is. And let's return back to our command line. Now we can run Firebase deploy. You can say Firebase deploy and hit enter. Then watch Firebase do its magic to push our build folder to the cloud. You see it says deploying, hosting, process ongoing. I don't know how long this is going to take. It's kind of speeding up. So let's see if we can wait for it. If it starts taking too long, I'm going to have to pause the video, but everything looks kind of okay right now. Now we're stuck at 99%. Okay. I think I'm just going to pause this and return when it's done. So fantastic, no errors and deploy complete. We get this success message that says deploy complete. And Firebase is kind enough to give us the URL to our application down here. It says hosting URL. And it gives us this, which is basically the project ID and .web.app. That's the default. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to right click and say, oh, open URL. So let's just open the URL straight. Open URL. And it loads up our application. That's loading up. And as you can see, we have the default page where we enter our 4-digit code. So let me just do this is Firefox, so just going to try and arrange the developer tools the same way I did in Chrome. Okay, okay, here's a mobile view. Okay, good. So yeah, we can work with this. So we have our application. We can enter the code for Adam Traore, which is 5678, and hit login. And immediately we have Adam Traore's profile set up with all his contacts. So in this video, we have been able to successfully take our application that we've been building so far and deploy it to the cloud using Firebase hosting.